Good morning. It's Tuesday, October 14th. We've got weather from one end of the state to the other. Here is the weather system as it stands now at about 10 o'clock this morning. It's wound up pretty nicely. This has been an interesting weather system, and it's bearing out. The forecast did a pretty good job with timing and aerial coverage of rainfall and snow. Most of the activity in terms of rainfall and snowfall has found itself south of Lake Tahoe in this zone. And you can see the cloud tops, right? There's a visible satellite image. You see the front clearly here. This is all cold air that's streaming in behind. Mammoth going to end up with a couple feet of snow easy. Lake Tahoe, I've been looking up there 6 inches, 7 inches. There'll be more snow. I haven't seen a foot of snow yet up around Lake Tahoe, but this area from about Lake Tahoe south and into Southern California, where they have flood watches, flood warnings at this hour. And again, concern for the burn areas of Southern California. And over the next 4 hours or so, this rain is going to move through. They have severe thunderstorm warnings, flood watches, flood warnings, things of that nature. So very productive storm thus far. I've got a myriad of live cameras. This is Mount Shasta as it stands right now. I think, this is, I don't know if it's going to cloud up on us or not, but this is this morning as the sun came up. Whoops. And you can see, right, there's some snow on Mount Shasta. There'll be more snow as we go through the afternoon and evenings, but you can see, I think it opens up again. You can see how low the snow got down on into the, almost into town. Snow levels were about 5,800 feet. Somebody's picking up some controlled burns there. And here's the main system now. And you can see the cool air coming in, right? There's that swath it cut, right? From this thing started up here. That's why the snow is happening. And then it's grabbing this subtropical moisture and pushing inland. So this low right now has basically dropped down the coast over the last 12 hours, 18 hours. And now it's going to kick inland. And that's when it moves through Southern California. So strong winds, 50-mile-an-hour gusts. We have severe thunderstorm warnings and our watches in Southern California, which is a rarity. Don't see that a lot in Southern California. Last time was a few years ago. The rainfall accumulations in the Santa Cruz Mountains, we're back north a little bit now, 2 inches in Ben Lomond, 1.5 inches at Boulder Creek. I mean, these numbers are awesome for this time of year. So did we put fire danger to rest? I kind of think so. I think it's always a concern, but these kinds of rainfall accumulations, these are over the last 24 hours, and it's a bunch of numbers. You're going to see heavier rainfall appears to be in the south part of the state from about Bay Area southward. Let's see if I can pull some numbers here. So you're looking at 1 inch of rain, 3/4 of an inch. MacArthur, Alturas, Mount Lassen really didn't get the bullseye. The bullseye, the right front quadrant of this low, was from this area, from Bay Area, Central California downward. See if I can pull it in. And you look at these numbers down south. Sorry, there's so much data in this map that it's moved slowly and jankily. So you can see upwards from Santa Cruz Mountains to Big Sur, over 2 inches of rain. And then you get down here into Southern California. This is the last 24 hours, and it's still raining down there. Some of the hills around Santa Barbara, over 2 inches of rain. Los Angeles, downtown, over 1 inch of rain. That's a lot of rain. That's a significant winter storm for Los Angeles. And of course, we're worried about the burn scars of Palisades. And some of these areas are suggesting over 2 inches of rain. So pretty awesome rain event. And again, that lower right front quadrant of that trough is where we're seeing some of the heaviest rainfall. So we go up to Mammoth now. I'm looking at the pictures out, looks like maybe they picked up this is actually Palisades, pardon me. That first picture was Mammoth. This Palisades this morning. So that's not a lot of snow. It's, that's just an inch, couple inches. That's at the top of the tram. The temperatures are right now at high camp are in the upper 20s, low 30s. It's going to be cooler as the night goes on and more snow will fall. This is Mammoth. The temperature in Mammoth right now is 27 degrees. That's a live camera, and that looks like they probably did get upwards of a foot. You can't tell it's live because it's a blizzard up there right now, and it's going to do that the rest of the day. So 1.5 foot more of snow at Mammoth, very possible. So over 2 feet of snow probably from the Mammoth Mountain area in that White Mountains, Bishop area. And then we can take a look at the travel up on 80. This is King Vale, so not much. It's the snow, kind of the snow line was higher up on the hill, and so we're seeing pretty decent road conditions in that area. Here's the rain right now as it stands. Again, this is at 10:30 this morning. There's the heavy rain. That's that right front quadrant, right? We'll talk about that in a minute with the models, but I keep talking about you get a low, you know, the L looks, and just to the right of the low, down by where the lower, where the little, not the vertical line, but the horizontal L, in that little area of the low, of an upper level low, which would be this area, you get the strongest dynamics. And in this case, you've got cold air, and now because you're further south, you have more moisture to work with. This is why Mammoth often gets more snowfall accumulations than Lake Tahoe. It's further south. You're like, well, wow, why so much? Well, because it's taller, but it also has a lower latitude and has a better opportunity to grab onto moisture. And so we have thunderstorm warnings, flood watches, a severe thunderstorm warning in this area, just east of Altadena, Santa Clarita, severe thunderstorm warning, and then flash flood watches in this area as well. That's a local, you got some topography, and so folks are concerned for the enhanced rainfall that could be produced. This is Weaverville. Weaverville got about 3/4 of an inch of rain. We can, take a peek at it and see if we can move it. I like to move these cameras. Sometimes I see things I didn't see before. Okay, that's not much to see there. So this is that system. Beautiful wind shear. You can see the clouds moving through up high. So beautiful day up north, Cape Mendocino. That you're in the cold air sector of this low. That's where you get the blue skies. Well, that's not going to show much. And then this is Bonnie Doon. This is out by, where are we at? Weaverville, Santa Cruz Mountains. Over 2 inches of rain in the Santa Cruz Mountains. Put a little loop on that as well. Sometimes you pick out stuff. Beautiful. Awesome. Isn't that awesome? The different cloud decks moving in different directions. That's really cool. Again, stable. It's in the back side of that low now, right? So we talk about the low, the right front quadrant. There's energy. There's left. This is in the back side of the low where you can still get unsettled weather, but it's more stable, and that's what you're experiencing. That's why when you see fog and low clouds, like fog like that, or the attempt to form fog, usually indicates some amount of high pressure trying to establish itself. Here we are at, let's see, that was Santa Cruz Mountains. This is Wairika. Again, blue skies, cold, clear air. We're in the clear air, stable environment behind the low, or to the north and behind it. Okay. And then this is San Francisco. Golden Gate Bridge. Mount Tam back here. Mount Tam over 1.5 inches, 2 inches of rain. San Francisco upwards of 1 inch of rain. That's a big storm for this time of year. And we can go back. We'll take a look at the rain accumulations again, just because we're in that area. See if I can move it down, move it in. And it's getting a little closer, and you can see San Francisco rainfall accumulation. So this is an urban area picking up 2 inches, 1.8 inches. You just kind of broad brush it, but San Francisco, East Bay Hills, 2 inches of rain. Marin County, almost 2 inches on Mount Tam. Very, very awesome storm for this time of year. Let's see, we've got the models now. Let's see where we are. Sorry to get off track there. This is the National Weather Service out of Monterey. They put up the watches and warnings, the severe or winter storm warning, which is they happen this time of year, but it's not the norm. A winter weather advisory, certainly. A winter storm warning, not all the time, but that's what we've got now. Winter storm warning will stay in effect for a little while. Most of the activity further south, where in east of Merced, you got a flood watch. And again, right front quadrant of that low. Now you're going to see what I'm talking about. This is Southern California. This is their National Weather Service office on LAX. And you can see the rainfall storm totals thus far, and they still have more to go. So 2 inches of rain at the Palisades scar, almost 2 inches at Palisades. That's going to, burn scars for a couple of years, they're an issue, right? They have the ability to, they have the inability to absorb water, so it just runs off. So 2 inches in the Palisades is ridiculous, and they're continuing to get more rain here. So right now, when you lay this out, Southern California, the benefactor of the most rainfall. These are the watches, warnings, and concerns for Southern California. It looks like In this area, out in the ocean, you've got a special marine statement for potential thunderstorms. This Santa Clarita area, flash flood warning, actually, which is a big deal. Let's see what they're saying on that. Flash flood warning, that means it's happening right now. Flash flood warning. Advisories are usually things that are getting ready to have happen. Flash flood warning for Central California until 1 o'clock. Doppler radar indicated heavy rainfall across the warned area. Expect rainfall rates, which is a big deal, up to an inch an hour. That's ridiculous. That's like in a tropical storm. So that's a lot. Flash flooding is ongoing. Some locations that will. So they've seen, there has been flash flooding seen. That rainfall rate would induce that flash flood warning. But a flash flood warning, when you see warning on anything, it means it's happening. It's not. If it's not happening yet, it's going to happen. It's a certainty, or as much as certain as you can be. And then you've got winter storm warnings here, and then you've got a severe thunderstorm watch all throughout Los Angeles and Burbank. So that is a significant event. So here is the system. I'm going to back it up. We're very familiar with this system. Been watching it down the coast now. Let me see if I can get rid of that. I want to get rid of you. Sorry about this. Okay, so let's go like this. Let's move you over. I have different colors. This is, this is the low right here. Okay, and that's where we are. This is the right side of the low, right? Does that make sense? Because the bullseye, your right side of the bullseye. So that's, I call that the quadrant would be, this is the right half. I break it into two because this lower right quadrant is where your game is. That's what's happening in LA right now. That's why there's flash flood watches and warnings. This area, I showed you up in Weaverville and up around Mount Shasta, that's the clearing, stabilizing part of the weather system. It's the back side of the low. So everything on this right front side of the low is where the juice is. And you can see where it's focused on, Southern California. So I think that, I mean, I oversimplify things, but it's that simple. I mean, you can get deeper into it, but that's the basics. Here comes the low. This is this afternoon, still hanging up over Southern California. Now it's into kind of moving out into Arizona. This is by late tonight, but you see now you're coming into the backside of that low. Here, I'm going to back up just a little bit. I really want you to understand this because when we look at the jet stream, you're going to be able to go, oh, well, like right now, you go, hey, what's going to happen in San Francisco in the next few hours? Well, you're in this sinking air or this stable environment, more stable environment. There may be some wraparound scattered showers. Maybe even a thunderstorm can develop in this area. But the most likely area, the chances here are, I would say, partly cloudy chance of a shower on the back half of this low. On the front half, it's game on. That's where your flood watches and flood warnings are. Lake Tahoe's basically just kind of north of that zone. So Lake Tahoe is kind of in a mild segment right now. Okay, so I think that's clear. But that right side of the low in that right front quadrant, and it moves off. So then we dry up. We get into Sunday, right there. Okay, and then that's next Sunday. So that's that system we were watching, which is interesting. And I actually have a dog in the hunt here because Sunday, I have a company called Weather Applied Metrics, and I'm working with NBC. And Sunday Night Football is huge, and they're doing beta testing with our product, which is wind definition in a stadium, real time, and for field goals and for punts and things like that. Field goals, 25% of all games are decided on field goals. But what I'm saying is this is a beta test day, and that's good because we're going to have wind and shear in the San Francisco at Levi Stadium when this occurs. So I'm kind of excited about that. I hope it times out that way. Okay, so that's the 500 millibar note. That's a little sidebar. Sorry to do that to you, but I'm sorry. That's when I look at that. That's why I'm looking at that low so much. Okay, this is HRRR. Okay, hour by hour. Look at where's the right front quadrant, right? Now you're getting good at this because you're going, yeah, that's right. There's the low center's about there. I'm just putting it in about there. And there's the right front quadrant. And oh, by the way, there's the dynamic. So now this is at the surface. We were aloft before using the trough. Now we're using it, and it verifies, right? So this is where all the activity is. This is the forecast for, I think this is a little earlier. This is this morning right now. This is 17Z. Make sure I get it right. 17Z is about 10 a.m. And then you see it move off pretty quickly. And this would be those thunderstorms moving into Southern California. This is 19Z, which is lunchtime, but still, right? And then look what's going on up here. So this is some of that wraparound moisture now. You're going, okay, I thought you said everything on the right. Well, you're still on the right side, or you're right in the low. That's actually the low center right now. Let me back it up, yeah. That's actually in the, and you see it, see how it sort of dies out when it comes around. So there is some wraparound moisture that shows up this afternoon in the Central Valley, and this would be those scattered showers, maybe a thunder shower. For Sacramento, this will be snow flurries, not as aggressive snow flurries because this is wraparound stuff. You're not in the right front quadrant. You're getting residual moisture. So you watch, it kind of breaks off the main band and then spins back in and then kind of dies. See how quickly it dies out. Okay, so what did I just show you? LA, you're going to get a break here this afternoon. Thunderstorms real possible as we go into, let's see, let me get this right, 0Z. Okay, I want to make the times right. Okay, 0Z. This is this afternoon. So LA, you're getting a break, but you still have scattered thunder showers. So it's an unsettled day for sure. Okay, that's that. This is the North American model. It's going to be pretty similar, I suspect. Here we are this afternoon, right? So most of the LA activities right now through about 4 o'clock this afternoon. And then there's that wraparound moisture that we saw enter the valley. It's a different model, so it has a different take. And you can see it's not quite as aggressive with that moisture field as HRRR, but there are scattered showers in the central part of California. And then we dry out and we clear out. Now we look at accumulations, 24-hour or actually full accumulation over the next couple of days. So here's starting now. We've already had 2 inches, 1.5 inches of rain in many parts of California, central. And Northern California has had up to 1 inch of rain, but now we're going to add more. So see, look at that right front quadrant. Again, this is through this afternoon. So it's going to load up another 1.5 inches of rain in that Mammoth Mountain west slope, which is going to equate to 1.5 feet of snow, another 1.5 feet of snow, plus there's more. It keeps coming. So this is through Friday morning. Well, actually, let me go back. I went too fast. Sorry. Okay, right here. This is through Wednesday morning. Okay, and then it's done. And then that next system, here comes, watch, right? Remember that one for Sunday I was talking about? There it is. And it brings in more rain. Ooh, that's interesting. That's a whole nother deal. That's on October. That's around Halloween. Huh. That's interesting. We'll see. That doesn't mean it's going to happen. Okay. So the national map, they're watching that nor'easter on the East Coast. They've got, not as bad. Things have mellowed out, but they've had tons of rain, tons of issues there. Now it's just a gale warning and some flood watches along the coast. Here is our winter storm warning, which will stay in effect throughout the day. Flood advisories, Southern California having their time of it. Okay. That right front quadrant thing makes sense, right? So when you look at a low or a trough, which is all we're looking at, and remember that first trough we looked at, to show a trough easily, you're up at 500. You're up in the upper atmosphere, up where the jet stream is. And we found that we did the quadrants there, the right front quadrant of that trough, up aloft. And we went down to the surface, and we were able to identify the surface features based on the dynamics from the right front trough. I can explain, one day I'll explain to you why that right quadrant is so awesome and why it does what it does, but not today. This is 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook. So I'll go back. This is forecast, right? Below average starting on October 19th, which makes sense. And then based on what I just saw, above average rainfall on the 23rd. Okay. Earthquakes. All above 5 the last day. So let's see what we got. Do we have any? There's a couple, just a couple. So these are above 5. So these, oops, sorry. So those are 5.95 north of Australia, kind of in Indonesia area. And then this is back home. These are the earthquakes above 2.5. The red represents the most recent, like pretty recently. 60 miles deep, a 5.2 in Chile. And then the triple point's got some activity that had 6 points over 3.1 And then you see some more activity. So it's pretty, not super quiet, but kind of quiet. And then we can look at all the earthquakes. These are microquakes as well. And you see Alaska and us, and these are subduction zones. So this is all in the last 24 hours. It's a lot of earthquakes. So we'll keep an eye on earthquake watch. We're due, right? And you can say it with certainty. We're due for a big quake somewhere. I hate to be that guy. And by the way, I don't think you can really predict the quakes at all. Dude, not really, because we're using geologic time. So we're going, it hasn't, the Hayward Fault hasn't busted loose, and I'm just making up a number now, 60 years, 100 years. And it seems like it busts loose every 100 years, or is it every 150 years, or is it every 130 years? It's kind of a weird thing. So it's not fear-mongering at all. It's just reality-mongering. I'm reality-mongering. I like that. This is on Saturday. Swell comes up. There's some surf at the beach today. We'll take a look. It's a little weird. There's a couple guys. Are there people out? Yeah, there's some people out, I think. Maybe those are birds. Because most people don't surf. The sickest I've ever been is, because the Golden Gate Bridge is a giant river mouth. All the stuff from the Central Valley, including pesticides, including fertilizer, including blah, comes out to the Yuba, the Sacramento, right, the Feather, all bleed in, and then they come out and they go out this little gap at the Golden Gate Bridge, and they go right here. And the sickest I got bad pneumonia once. I didn't almost die, but I thought I was dying. And I've had it a few times, actually, bad sickness. Because we'd surf in the storms. We just were stupid. People now have kind of learned. So these first few days after a storm, and you can even see the water discoloration. Think of all the stuff. Think of what we're talking about here. Okay, that's San Francisco's Ocean Beach. This is Halama. Kind of stormy. That makes sense, too. Let's look at it. So it looks like it's raining out there, right? So let's do this. Let's go up to Halama. Let's do this. This is a great example of how to, let's see, I'll go here, Lompoc. And yes, in fact, Halama, which exists right here. Actually, that's Government's Point, isn't it? I think this is Halama in here. So there's thunderstorms in the area. I was just trying to identify. And that's what we would be looking at. We're looking south from this camera. Okay, I hope you're having a good day. This is a different shot of Mount Shasta. And that's the valley, beautiful valley. That's kind of like Lake Shastina and north. And again, this is kind of clear air activity. This is, again, to remind you that they've had a ton of rain in LA, and they are under the watches and warnings for at least the next 5 hours. So, and it should be done by tonight for the most part, but the severe thunderstorm, a real possibility. Here's a live camera. This is Truckee, live camera. I'm pretending I see snow. I think I see snow, but I don't. I was just displaying my camera. Truckee Airport, and then Mammoth, where most of the snow is going to fall. So when all's said and done, Mammoth, there's a blizzard up there. Mammoth's going to be the deal. And then look at the difference between, so that's Mammoth. Now take a look at the difference between that and Palisades. Palisades has snow for sure, but you can't really tell from that camera, damn it. The Mammoth, you can see the snow. It's a blizzard. But Mammoth's going to end up with the most snow accumulation. So the big picture here, the whole story, this has been an awesome weather system. I would call this absolutely beneficial rainfall, snowfall. Sometimes you get rain, you get too much, you get problems. But this time of year, although I was going to say Palisades, if they do get another inch or two of rain, they might have some problems. And they've already had some flash flooding. So maybe not as beneficial in Southern California. Some of that rain has been causing some problems. That's okay. That would, but at my latitude, Central California, it's been in Northern California. It's been super beneficial because in my world, I think about the fire danger. Okay. First significant snow of the Sierra snow season and of the rainfall season. It's awesome. Talk to you later.